Good morning, pre-K boys and girls. It's Miss Shelli going to tell you the story for October. And our story today is about Mr. Jairus. He was a man that lived in Jesus' time, and he and his wife were so sad. Their little girl was very sick, but they knew and had heard about Jesus and how he was healing sick people. So Mr. Jairus went to find Jesus. And when he got there, there were lots of people around Jesus because they loved to be with Jesus. But Mr. Jairus goes, "Jesus, please, can you hear my story?" And he even got down on his knees and he begged Jesus to come to his house and to come heal his little girl. Well, Jesus said, "Okay, this is very serious. I should come with you." And as they walked along, there was a very sick woman in the crowd, and she snuck up behind Jesus and touched his cloak. And Jesus went, "Who touched me?" And she said, "I did." Jesus said, "You are healed. Go in peace." But this slowed Jesus down, and Mr. Jairus was very worried. But Jesus said, "Let's go." But while they were going to Mr. Jairus' house, a servant came and whispered in his ear and said, "Mr. Jairus, don't bother the master anymore. Unfortunately, your little girl has died." Jesus heard the servant and he said, "Don't worry, Mr. Jairus, I am still coming with you." When they got to his home, all the people were gathered to cry and mourn this poor little girl who had died. And they were crying and playing music and trying to comfort Mrs. Jairus. And Jesus said, "Don't worry, your little girl is not dead, she's only asleep." The people around him were not so sure about this. They knew she had died, but Jesus was God and he was very powerful and he knew what he was about to do. So he went inside with Mr. and Mrs. Jairus and the little girl. He touched her hand, he held it in his, and he said, "Little girl, wake up." And you know what happened? The little girl woke up. God had healed her through Jesus. Jesus was God and was powerful to raise her from the dead. And he said, "Give this little girl something to eat." And they were all so happy, Mr. and Mrs. Jairus. Their little girl was well again. She was alive. They were so thankful to Jesus. We can do some things for Jesus too, even though we're little girls and boys. We can be kind to our brothers and sisters, and we can be kind to our parents. So just remember how kind Jesus was when he was on this earth. And even though he's in heaven, he is still kind to you, and you should be kind to other people for Jesus. I'm so glad you could join me today for our story. I hope you have a wonderful Sabbath. Goodbye.